If you're a government employee thinking about retiring or resigning, one of the biggest challenges is trust. Who do you trust? And not just to invest your money, but to help you save on tax, protect your legacy, and ensure that you never run out of money. The pension fund or investment houses. Or if you decide to take control of your money, how can you know that your financial planner is truly working with your best interest at heart? Now, it's a daunting decision, isn't it? But what if there's a way that you can take control of your financial future without putting your hard earned savings at risk? Now, last week, Susan, one of my clients, had given me a call. And she's been with me for a year now. And we were reviewing her income plan. And she said to me, Devon, I'm so happy with my investment and its growth. The income is enough and everything feels perfect. And I smiled and I replied to Susan and I said, Susan, I'm glad to hear this, but what if it could be better? And her face lit up immediately. And that's what I want to focus on today's video. How can you make sure that your resignation plan doesn't just work, but it thrives? Now, if you're a government employee ready to take control of your money, protect your wealth, and save as much as possible in tax, this video is perfect for you. Stay tuned until the end because I'm going to be sharing with you 5 tips to ensure that you get the most out of your resignation plan. And these are tips that could make the difference between a plan that just works and one that exceeds all of your expectations. And it's still very beneficial for you if you are uncertain on which route to take, right? Whether you're choosing between retiring and resigning, because it's all about empowering you to make the right choice. Let's get started. So the first thing that I want to share with you, tip number 1, is start small and test. Start small and test. And what is it that I mean by this? The goal here is to ensure that you reach a stage of financial freedom. It's not really about retiring and resigning. If you watch my earlier videos or if you followed me on the masterclass, I talk about this concept of financial freedom. So you want to get to financial freedom. And sometimes, especially in the beginning, I've seen this from members, connecting becomes a bit of a challenge, right? Maybe you've had an experience where you connected with a financial advisor previously, or you've invested some money previously, and you've had some type of loss. Maybe it's not even you, it could be a family member who's incurred some type of loss. And because of that, trust becomes a problem, right? You don't really know whether you can trust this financial advisor or planner. You don't really know whether you can trust that resigning is the right route for you or retirement is the best route for you, right? So you want to start focusing on what can you do to put something in place that's small and you can test. And you can test your financial planner in this way. Maybe you've got access to some small savings. So let's put it in here. Doesn't have to be too significant. Might be 50,000 or it could be 100,000 or it could be more, right? And this money could be from different sources. It could be money that you saved inside of a bank account. It could be maybe some type of savings that you have through an investment. It could even be money that you have inside of a retirement annuity. In any event, it's money that you have access to. It's already saved. It just needs a place where it can be invested. And you take a portion over to your financial advisor or your planner. Let's say you're connecting with me. You bring those funds over to me to say, hey, Devon, listen, I am thinking about going this route. I'm not sure if it's the right route for me, but I do want you to test for me. So if you had this amount of money, I'm giving you access to this, I'm giving you 100,000, test this money for me. I want you to see what sort of tax planning I could get. How can I invest this money in a way that is better, right? Now, from there, you want to make sure that the following gets considered. You want to look from a tax perspective because you're testing that, right? How can you get the best advice so that you can create the best amount of tax savings? You want to look at from an investment perspective, how can you invest your money in a way where it's safe and money is growing, right? Or if there's certain other areas that are important for you, you want to pay attention to those, make sure you make notes of those so that you bring it out inside of the discussion, right? But how can you get money to grow safely? You're looking at that. And you also want to test the experience, especially if you're connecting with me, because my goal is to make sure the entire experience becomes one that is pleasant, where I'm covering every single area, right? Not just focusing on investing your money, but I want to make sure I've covered things like cap leave, I've covered tax, I've covered investing, I've covered medical aid, all of the areas, not just focusing on one area in particular. So start small and test. Just put yourself in a position where you can check to see, is this a financial planner that's giving me the right advice? Is this someone that's explaining things to me that's simple and easy to understand? And are they communicating effectively to me? Am I in a position where I get to see the results, and are the results actually tangible, right? So that's what I mean when I say start small and test. Then don't keep too much inside of a bank account. And the reason is the following, and I'll draw this because I want you to illustrate it, right? It's important to have some money inside of a bank account because the bank brings some security. It gives you liquidity. And I shared with you on an earlier video, on another video on the YouTube channel where I speak about an emergency fund and the importance of creating something like that. So a bank can bring a lot of advantages to you. However, there's certain factors you want to keep in mind. The bank does not allow you to put a beneficiary. And because you cannot put a beneficiary, money inside your bank account is going to be part of your estate. And because it's part of your estate, it's going to could attract estate duty, which is a tax we pay on the estate, right? Or when we close our eyes. You could also have executive fees, right? There would be executive fees on money that you have in the bank. So if it's a very high amount of money in the bank, the executive is naturally going to charge a high fee because executive fees are percentage based. They calculate it as a fee, as a percentage of your gross estate. So you want to bear that in mind. You could also earn a lot of interest in a bank account. And I've had this with a number of clients, right? Especially members that have been extremely disciplined. They very wise with how they spend money. So they end up saving a significant amount of money, and then the interest comes in as a problem, right? It creates a problem because the interest is added to your income and it creates a tax problem for you. So the balance is important. You want to keep some money in the bank account, not too much because it could lead to these problems, and not too little because then you may not have enough when emergency comes up, or you might not have enough just to maneuver, right? You need liquidity. The next thing is you want to identify ways in which you can save on tax. Now, I've spoken about tax time and time again on this channel, why it's so critically important, and yet I still see members making mistakes from a tax perspective. So let's quickly have a look at what are the areas for you to save on tax. As a government employee, whether you choose to retire or resign, you're going to have access to a lump sum, right? Either in the form of your gratuity or it's going to be in the form of the true 1/3 lump sum. So whatever the lump sum is, you're going to end up paying some type of tax on that lump sum. So from a tax perspective, I want you to start to pay attention to what exactly is the tax? How can you leverage this tax? What could you do so that you pay the least amount of tax possible? I've shared in previous videos, if you started working before 1998, you have access to a pre-98 tax-free benefit. Critically important that you don't miss out on this benefit, because if you do not use it, you're going to lose it, right? So you want to pay attention to that. Then you want to focus on the income itself. So any income that you are receiving, that income is going to be taxable. So again, you want to go back in to see what could you do to ensure that you're paying the least possible tax. And this is why paying attention to your initial set of planning becomes important. You want to make sure that you start your planning early so it caters for this. You can start to see all the tax planning. Again, tax planning could be done even before you take the decision of retiring and resigning, right? I've helped members do that type of planning in advance. So then it just gives them some type of belief. Hey, you know what? I can save on tax. It is possible to save on tax, right? And sometimes it just little things like that makes a big difference. And then you want to have a look at monthly monitoring. Now, I like monthly monitoring simply because we know how the markets operate, right? So markets go like this. They ebb and flow, which means sometimes markets performing well and you're going to be in a good space. Sometimes markets not performing well, in which case you're not going to be in a good space. Monthly monitoring means you are in a position where it doesn't mean we have to meet every single month, but I'm giving you an update of your investment, right? So you get to see this every single month, And doesn't that promote transparency? It shows you that I'm confident enough to tell you exactly what's happening with your investment. It also shows honesty, isn't it? It puts you in a position where you can act. Assuming something's not done right, then you can act. However, usually if this is done properly, I don't believe that you should be chopping and changing funds, right? Because the proper worksheet have been set up right at inception, then you know it's just reviewing and monitoring. And then you know when you're doing the monthly reviews, everything is falling into place, right? That's just a confirmation. The monthly reviews are confirmation of the work that you have done previously to say, hey, look, you followed that advice, that guidance. It's now putting you in a position where it's running according to plan. And then critically important, you want to stay in touch with your financial plan. And why I say this is essential, because things can change. Your life is what it is right now, maybe different in a month from now, maybe different a year from now. You see, even if things don't change for you, we do know that the tax laws could change. See, they change every single year, right? Your situations might change. Your family situations might change. In which case, you want to be in touch with your financial planner so that you can adjust your plan accordingly and create something that's suitable for you based on on your situation at that particular moment of time. Again, I hope the video has been helpful. Comment below and let me know which of the 5 points have been the most beneficial to you, and I'll catch you on the next video.